say we are already on the cloud. That's not true. Okay. First one is you require the essential characteristics are you need a broad network access, which means you should be able to access the cloud from anywhere to any device. You need rapid elasticity. That means you should be able to grow very fast. So somebody wants 100 servers in a day, you should be able to give it in a day. Or you want 1,000 servers, you should have that sort of elasticity. It should be a measured service. People will pay for what they use. It will be an on-demand self-service. There will be no salesman coming and selling the cloud to you. You just go into the web, use your credit card from the bank, and then you buy what you want from the cloud. It was as simple as that. So today to start a business, what do you need? You just need a credit card. You go to the cloud, buy what you want, and you have a great idea, you start doing that in the cloud. Last one is resource pooling, which you be absolutely, you need to know what happens behind. It's not your concern. All the resources will be pooled and given to you as you require. Okay? There are three primary services which should run on the cloud. One is software as a service, like you have Salesforce.com or Facebook. You don't worry about anything. You just use the software and pay for it as you use, or it's given free to you. The second one is you have a great application which is specifically made for you. Then you do platform as a service. So you go and hire the platform. You don't build servers, nothing. You buy 6 servers, you buy the OS, you buy what licenses you want, and just use the platform and do your development of it. Lastly, if you don't even want to do that, you just want only the server space with the OS and you want to run what you want, you can also buy the infrastructure. You could just buy the servers and be happy with it. So broadly, these are the 3 service models in the cloud. Again, based on privacy, there are 4 models of cloud. One is the public cloud, which means you would share it with everybody. So anybody could use that cloud, like for example, Amazon. It could be a private cloud. The government of Maharashtra would only build a cloud for themselves. Like there was a very nice thing, the Madhya Pradesh government have built a cloud. Now they have rented that cloud also to the Jammu and Kashmir government. Now the Jammu and Kashmir government is now going to use the Madhya Pradesh cloud. Okay? Very interesting. Please track it on Google. This is the way the government is going to cut down the cost, because Jammu and Kashmir is, forget all the other problems there. It is already in a seismic zone. It is very difficult to build anything there. There are landslides and other natural problems. And they are not paying for anything. Madhya Pradesh government are leveraging and paying their services. You could also have an hybrid cloud, which means part of the stuff could be on the public cloud, part of it could be on the private cloud. You could also have a community cloud, not very popular, but it will come in finally. Like AIMS, your own college could have a community for all the students as you pass out. That would be your own private cloud. Or if they want to support entrepreneurship, they may just build a cloud and just use for whatever you want to do. Okay? There's one more very nice term in this, which is known as a cloud burst. What happens is when the public cloud runs out of space or servers, they could have a relationship with another public cloud and they just go and use these services in the public cloud, right? So 2 public clouds do it. So it's like a cloud burst. So when this guy runs out of capacity, you will go and use somebody else's capacity. For example, if you take from Amazon, Amazon runs out of space, they have a deal with Microsoft, they go and use a Microsoft cloud so that you are not denied whatever service you want, okay? This is the basic jargon behind cloud computing in the architecture. Massive scale, massive investments. To build cloud computing infrastructure, minimum you require 3 locations. 3 location data centers you require. Basic investment in Indian rupees is about 100 crores plus to build this in. Homogeneity has to be there. Virtualization is a key driver for this. It has to be resilient computing because you are running it for somebody else. Everything has to be protected. The cloud also comes with disaster recovery built in, so you don't lose your data. Your business does not suffer because of one data center being down. Low-cost software again because it's a pay-as-you-use. It's also, global clouds will have geographic distribution. I have a few slides of Microsoft which I'll share later on that. It's also service orientation, mainly self-service. You take what you want and use, so you are the boss. Okay? And it also uses very advanced security technologies, which is very difficult in a normal sense to deploy, even in a large data center. The cloud market space is very crowded. You would have learned a lot of these companies. Some of them have even been started by Indians. And here they are, infrastructure, cloud. This is a very complex slide, but I will leave it here. But you have platform. And these are all companies whose valuation has been fantastic. Fantastic valuation on application of the cloud. Billions, almost 100 times valuation for these companies after they have launched their cloud services. Some of this you may be using, some of it you may not. Like if you look at finance, you have Concur, Workday, PMID. What does this do? This takes care of your whole accounting function on the cloud. So you don't have a Tally or any accounting software. You also have the ERP in the cloud. You also have the ERP in the cloud, CRM in the cloud. A good example of CRM is Salesforce.com. Okay? There is a very, very huge population here in the cloud marketplace. Okay, what drives all this? Right? One is the technology, great, but why is everybody going to the cloud? Why am I speaking about the cloud here? The first and the most important thing which drives cloud is scalability. You can scale it on the fly. So you could have 100 servers, you get it immediately. You have access to resources on demand. You just use your credit card and you get whatever resources you want, right, at any time of the day. Huge cost savings. You lock up a rate period. You will always lock up about 60% from the cost. Okay? So if you are spending 1 rupee today, if you are going on the cloud, you will be spending 40 paisa. That is what is the cost saving we are talking about. Reliability, backup, disaster recovery, all that is already built in for you. Okay? And also other resources, whatever you need. So these are some of the benefits why people go into them. What are the concerns? Actually, the main concern is the third one, losing control of underlying infrastructure. Okay, this worries a lot of CIOs today, IT heads, because they don't have a job and a team anymore today, right? Because they just lose control. You don't need that IT department anymore because you want to be on a self-service mode, right? The lack of security I will talk about later because I am one of the founder members of the Cloud Security Alliance where we drive security for the cloud. I'm one of the founder members of the mobile chapter of that. I will have a few slides on that for you. They locked into specific development environment. Even that happens today. Even the government of Maharashtra, anybody is locked into a specific environment. You cannot be in multiple environments because simply it's going to be very costly to maintain multiple. Either you have to be in open source, or you have to be with Microsoft, or you have to be with Oracle, you have to decide with whom you're going. So it doesn't make a difference, the same story in the cloud. Okay? The revenue model is most important in the cloud, right? So you don't make a 100 crore investment to start your business, you just pay, you get into operation. As you use, you pay, right? So you don't have to worry. If your business grows, you keep paying for the services. If your business doesn't grow, you just close out the service and go home. You don't have servers, data center, no physical infrastructure to get rid of, right? The whole thing works on an operating expenses model, okay? So there is no investment risks. Traditionally what used to happen, any project, private sector, government, first there's a tendering process, there's competitive bid, we call that as a fashion parade. All the vendors will come, they will show you what they've done. Then comes the award of the contract. That takes about 6 months or even more depending on which sector you are in. After that the project execution will start. That will take about another year, year and a half. By the time you see the fruition of the project, about 2 years have gone by. But then the business paradigm has changed completely and actually people forget why they started this project in the first place. Whereas that risk is fully gone when you use cloud computing because you just start, especially when using software as a service, you just start using the software what you want for your business and get ahead with your work. Okay? In my vision, today's paper, the stock exchange I built has been sold to Anil Ambani Group, the OTC Exchange of India. We built it in 91 when people said India could not build its own stock exchange. A big challenge for us then. India has now become, actually India's got today the National Stock Exchange, I think, has the largest number of transactions anywhere in the world. Okay, so the times have changed. But the interesting thing is these markets are very expensive to run and the cost of transaction is very high. These markets will also move to the cloud subsequently, and that is my vision that many of the commodity markets and these markets will move to the cloud, where you want to have a huge building like the Bombay Stock Exchange building, or the Pune Stock Exchange building, or the National Stock Exchange building. They will just go to the cloud and run the market from there. It's just little early days still because regulators have to understand how to regulate the cloud. So there's a lot of learning to happen, but in the future this is definitely going to happen. Okay. Cloud computing is Gandhi engineering. How many people have heard of Gandhi engineering? Right? What is Gandhi engineering? I heard about Gandhi engineering in Pune. I had come last year for the CSI National Conference and we had one of our most eminent citizens, Dr. Malshekar, talk about Gandhi engineering. Right? And that's when I got hooked on and then I mapped it to the cloud and I realized what cloud is all about is Gandhi engineering. Right? So Gandhi engineering was first used in the New York Times to define the Tata's Nano, which again was designed in Pune. Right? It's a Pune company. It defines Gandhi engineering as a mantra that combines irreverence towards established ways. That means you throw away the established ways with a scarcity mentality that removes all superfluities. That is what the cloud does for you. It gives you the best of breed at the lowest cost, throwing away the conventional wisdom of the way of computing. Right? And the cloud engineering is truly a Gandhi engineering because it encompasses low cost, which means You can get it for nothing almost. High operational efficiency. It has got reliability and everything you need built into it. Elasticity, as you need it will grow. And scalability. Right? So these are the 4 criteria I would look for any IT system or even any business system. All 4 is mapped in this. And that is why I firmly believe that cloud is garbage. Right? What would be the cloud benefit to the Indian? Right? Again, when Gandhiji was there, he talked about Ram Swarajya. Gandhiji's biggest interest was rural India has to be part of the mainstream. Right? Many of us from rural India migrated to bigger cities like Pune. I think it's time for us to go back and make the difference there. Okay? And the cloud will allow that. The cloud will allow information technology to be infused to the smallest hamlet of India and make access to information available to the poorest of the poor, to give them a better life by empowering them with knowledge derived through the netbook or mobile phone connected to the cloud. Right? They don't really need electricity for a netbook. Actually, the Indian government has recently made a netbook less than $35. Okay? It can run on solar power, mobile gas, any energy. Rural banking will happen on the cloud. One of the challenges to take banking, where micro banking has been filling that space. Micro banking also funds transaction costs high. Banks would use it, commodity exchanges, stock exchanges, know your customer, KYC and credit bureaus will start using this. We could also use the cloud for agricultural information because the end farmer needs to know what is the weather pattern, what should he sow, what is the future prediction of prices for his crops, what would be the price of agriculture. Those of you who are from farmer families know all the parameters you need and you have no access to that information, right? Because the paper will come in many rural places only the next day. Maybe too late for you to make a decision, right? It will also benefit citizens with citizen interface portals. The role model for this again is the US government. The US government first made a cloud for all the big universities. All the 8 universities closed their data center and all those universities on the cloud today. You can read about it on the web. The second thing the US government did was they mandated all the government bodies to close their data centers, and there is an Indian there who is the CIO of the US government. His name is Vivek Kundra. You can Google him again if you're interested. And he has cut down the government transaction cost almost by 60%. In my mind, the biggest beneficiary would be the government and the citizen of the cloud. Okay? Indian government is moving there, and cloud computing, I have been talking to people in NIC, which is a National Informatics Center, and they are doing some prototypes on the cloud already. Nandan also has talked about putting the UID project on the cloud in his architecture, right? So all this is happening here today to reduce the cost, okay? The cloud benefit again for India, it will reduce the cost of e-government, thank you. Medical care and other government computerization initiatives, it will reduce the cost because how does the government get the money? The government gets money from the citizen by taxes and then it gives back to the citizen again, right, as services. And the government is very conscious of the cost of delivery, okay? The second most thing which I already talked about, the cloud will divide, the great divide between rich urban India, where we all speak English and refuse to speak our vernacular language for I don't know for what reason, right? That will go away. The poor and rural India and give the same level fielding to all Indians. So whether you're sitting in a hamlet with no electricity but with solar power, or you're sitting in Mumbai with 24 hours electricity, you will have the same benefits because you have access to the cloud. And to knowledge, finally we're talking about knowledge, right? Lastly, the cloud will enable non-English speaking literate Indians. A lot of Indians are literate, but they don't know how to speak English. So what? I mean, we have 1.2 billion and we have at least 10 million who speak Marathi, another 15 million who speak Hindi. They're all literate, they're not illiterate. They know how to read and write, but they know their mother tongue, how to read and write. So English does not have to be the only language for communication, right? It's nice if you're going to work for American MNC, but I think India itself is going to be a very huge market, right? So they will join the information revolution, which is already happening. Today, how many of you use Google in Hindi, you can use it in Marathi, you can use it in Kannada, you can use it in almost about 15 Indian languages, right? And I'm very happy to say this pioneering work again was done in Pune by CDAC. This whole language GIST was done in CDAC here in Pune, okay, many years back. Because I was very